Hi guys, what is up? In this video, we'll be building a Golang program that will help us get weather information of any city in the world. And for the sake of this video, since we want to keep this video short, we'll focus only on getting the temperature details of the cities and not on any other details like wind and humidity and all those things. All right, so you have to use the Open Weather API. So I'm on openweathermap.org, and as you can see, I'm logged in, and in my small menu here, I see my profile and also my API keys. So all you have to do is sign up here and you'll get your API keys, and this is my API key. I've already copied it, all right, and then I've pasted, I'll be using it in my program. So you need to make sure that you copy your API key, and then let's get started. So I'll now what I'll do is I'll open up my terminal window. So let me try switching to my terminal window. Yes, I hope you can see it now. So now I'll enter the place where I keep most of my Go code. Okay, and now we'll create a directory called weather, and we'll go in that directory. All right, and here I'll say go mod init and github.com/akhil/weather. Okay, we're going to be using only main.go, only one file. It's a small program. We won't have multiple files in this project, so this is not required. I mean, I don't have to init using a GitHub code as an absolute root, but I'm doing it anyways. It's best practice. So now you can see the go mod file is already there, and I'll go ahead and open up my VS Code. Now you could be using any other code editor, it's not a problem, but I'll be using VS Code in this project. So give me a while, because I think it takes some time for this OBS to actually detect VS Code. Yeah, so I think you can see VS Code on my window on my screen now. And so now what we'll do is we'll actually go ahead and create main.go file, and I'll also be creating an API config file where I'll be actually keeping my API key. So why did I create a separate file? Just to keep my API key. It's best practice, because when you push this code to GitHub, you can say in git ignore that you don't want this file to go on GitHub, right? So that everybody can access your API key. So if you have paid for the API key and somebody gets access to your API key, I mean, you're going to be in trouble, right? So, and you don't want that to happen. So that's why you do this. Anyhow. So now what I'll do is I'll just create an object here, and I'll say open weather. So the O is capital, weather W is capital, and map and API map is capital, A is capital, and for key, K is capital, right? And then I'll just paste the key that I got from the website here. So we have the API key, and now we are set. We can get started creating our actual program. What I'll be doing is I'll actually be dividing this entire video into two small parts, and I'll be uploading in two small parts, so that it doesn't get the information doesn't become too much to take in if you're watching it over different days, right? So in this video, the first video, which is today, what we'll be doing is we'll be writing our import, as in we'll be importing the packages, and we'll be writing a couple more functions like the API functions we can write, I think. So let's get started. Let's see what happens, right? So here first, the first thing I'll write is package main, and then I'll say import, and I know that I want to import encoding JSON, because I want to send some I want to encode some data. And then I'll use IOUtil. You'll soon see why I'm using these. net/http, because I want to make a request to the Open Weather Map API, so I need this package, and strings to work with strings, right? Just a small tip: if you're using a VS Code plugin for Golang, then make sure that you don't Control S or you don't save it. Otherwise, all these will automatically disappear, because it knows that I'm not using these packages right now, right? So that's why it's giving me red and giving me squiggly lines out here. That's because I'm using a Golang plugin. And so if you're using that, just make sure that you don't Control and S, otherwise all of these will disappear, because Golang knows that you're not using these, so we'll try to remove these errors. So So the first struct that I need is API config data. All right, it's a struct. What does it do? It basically helps us get the open weather map key, weather map API key, right? So you'll be storing a key like this, and the key is actually JSON, right? We created it together. It's a JSON, and it's actually called open weather map API key. And if you've worked with databases, if you've seen one of my videos on how we worked with MongoDB in the Golang to-do series, to-do list series, then you know what this is. It's basically getting JSON data in the struct and defining this, right? And this is how you'll be using the key. And then another struct that I want is the weather data, because I want a particular format in which I want to show the weather data, right? And in this struct, I'll have name string and JSON name, and I'll have main struct. Okay. So the temperature that we'll show in would be Kelvin. It won't be Fahrenheit or Celsius. So here we'll say JSON temperature, and outside here we'll say JSON, sorry, it's these ticks. Just make sure you don't write these inverted commas. You actually put the ticks, which are the button next to 1. So on your the button above tab, actually the tab key. So those will give you the ticks. And here you'll say JSON and main. All right. So now we have these two structs. Now we want to create the function that will help us get the API config key, the open weather API key, from this file, right? So let's write the function load API config, and we'll say file name string, because we will pass it a file name. The file name will be API config, all right? And it returns this config data. Config data. The other thing it returns is an error. So we'll say bytes and error, sorry, bytes comma error util dot read file. So this basically helps us read the file name that we'll pass, right? This file name, the F is not capital here. So it'll help us read this file, right? And after reading it, it'll give us the data in bytes, or in this variable called bytes, or it will return an error, right? So if we get an error, we can handle the error, right? So how do we handle the error? If you've seen my earlier videos, this is how we handle errors. In the sense, we check if the error is not nil, then we return API config data comma error, right? So if the error is not nil, then you return the data. Then we'll say var c is API config data. All right, we're defining a variable c, which is of type API config data. That means it has the API key, right? And we'll say error is equal to JSON dot unmarshal bytes comma %c. And if error is not equal to nil. So I've covered marshalling and unmarshalling in one of my videos on Golang. I'm not sure. I think it is the one with the one of the scraper videos. I'm not sure, but it's not a very difficult concept to understand. I think it's in the Collie scraper, the IMDb scraper. So you can go check out that video to understand how marshalling and unmarshalling works. So you have API config data comma error. All right, and then what we'll do is we'll return c comma nil. So nil is for the error, so we'll return the error is not there, right? And that is our load API config file that basically helps us to get the API key from here. That's all it helps us do, right? I know it's a big function, but that's all it is doing. So now what we'll do is we'll start writing our func main. So we'll say func main. This is now the main function in any Golang file, Golang program. This is where the control goes. And here we'll create two handlers. So we'll say handle func. So whenever a program starts, we'll either say /hello, and then we'll have a small program that will print out hello. That is all, so that we know the API is working. And I think before that, what I'll do is I'll just create HTTP dot. I'll create my server, listen and serve. If you want to understand better, as in how to why we use these packages and how it works, you can watch this video that I've created. It's called building a simple web server in Golang. And so now we have started the server, right? This line basically starts the server on port 8080. And now we have this function that will handle a /hello route for us. And another function I'll create that will handle /weather /route. So what I want to happen is that anybody should be able to go to localhost 8080, and they should be able to write /weather, and after slash they should be able to write the name of the city that they want the data for, and then you'll be able to get the data, right? So that means we'll have to somehow get access to the string of the city, in the sense, like let's say the city is Delhi or Mumbai or any other city that you want. You should be able to get access to that city in that string, right? After whatever comes after the slash. So what we'll do here is we'll say func whttp dot response writer. So to any handling function, we pass the response writer and we pass the request, right? http dot request. All right. And to be able to get the city, like I said, we'll use the strings package, and we'll use split n r.url. path, comma 3 and 2. All right. So we'll get the city, basically anything that comes after the slash, and we'll call a function called query, and we'll send the city to it. Now the query function is the main function, basically, which is obviously this is func main, which is the main function, but query is the main function. When I say main function, I mean the function where all the magic is happening, in the sense the query function is actually responsible for getting the data from the open weather map API. All right. So to that function, we'll just pass city, and we'll say we'll have this variable called data, in which the data that is returned from this function will be captured. And also it returns an error. So if there is an error, which means error not equal to nil, then you'll have http dot error. We'll say w comma error dot error. All right. And you'll say http dot status internal server error. So I have this video where I create a CRUD API in Golang. And also I create a CRUD API with Golang plus MySQL. You can watch both of those videos. You'll understand what this is, as in how we handle errors and what are these different HTTP functions, and how we can pass 500 errors and 400 errors, 422 errors. All of those things I've tried to cover in those videos. And so here what we'll say is, so now we want to send some response to the front end. So we'll say header dot set. This also, if you've seen one of my previous videos on CRUD APIs, you must be very familiar with this. You can set the header when sending the response to the front end, comma application /JSON, and inside here you have char set equal to UTF-8, and you'll say JSON dot new encoder. New encoder we get from the encoding JSON package. All right. We'll say dot encode. We'll say data out here, Everything does look okay to me. Out here, this is not E, by the way, this is R, because you get the request. Okay, in that request you're able to find the slash, and then you're able to get data after the slash. All right, strings. So by mistake I pressed Control S myself, so that's why it's giving me error where there's strings. And now all we have to do now is create two more functions. One is the hello function and the other is the query function, right? And then our program will start working. I'll cut this video short, and this is I think as far as we'll go in this video. So do subscribe to the channel so that you come to know when the next video of this series comes out. It'll mostly be tomorrow, but in just any case, you know, if it gets delayed, you'll at least be notified if it's you know, whenever it comes out. So do subscribe, and thanks a lot for watching.